Today's episode of Variant is brought to you by GoDaddy.
Today on Variant, I give you the history of Captain America. Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than I can't wait to see Captain America Winter Soldier. I'm your host, Eris Quinones. Captain America Winter Soldier comes out this Friday, that is, if you're watching this before April 4th. And since I already did a history of Winter Soldier last week, it only makes sense to talk about the red, white, and blue American hero this week, which is exactly what I'm gonna do. So let's see what the first Avenger is all about. Captain America was created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. Cap made his first appearance in Captain America Comics issue 1 in March of 1941. In 1940, writer Joe Simon conceived the idea for Captain America and made a sketch of the character in costume. I wrote the name Super American at the bottom of the page, which is what Joe Simon said in his autobiography. He goes on to say, no, it didn't work. There were too many supers around. Captain America had a good sound to it. There weren't a lot of captains in comics. It was as easy as that. Captain America's sidekick Bucky was named after Joe Simon's friend, who was the star of the high school basketball team. Simon also recalled in his autobiography that Timely Comics publisher Martin Goodman gave him the go-ahead and directed that a Captain America solo comic book series be published as soon as possible, needing to fill a full comic with primarily one character's story. Joe Simon got his partner and friend, the infamous Jack Kirby, to pencil the book, and boom, the first issue of Captain America was born. The cover of the issue, as you have already seen, showed good old Cap punching Nazi leader Adolf Hitler in the jaw. The reason for this was because the issue was released around the time of World War II, so it showed an American soldier, i.e. Captain America, punching the douchebag Adolf Hitler in the jaw. The cover still remains one of the most meaningful and iconic covers, I'm going to say, not even in just comic book history, but magazine history in general. The issue also sold nearly 1 million copies. With his sidekick Bucky, Captain America faced Nazis, Japanese, and other threats related to the war. Stan Lee contributed to the character in issue 3, in the filler text story, Captain America Foils the Traitor's Revenge, which introduced the character's use of his shield as a returning throwing weapon. Captain America soon became Timely Comics, now known as Marvel Comics' most popular character, and even had a fan club called the Sentinels of Liberty. In post-war era, the popularity of superheroes was fading, which ultimately led to the cancellation of Captain America Comics with issue 75 in February of 1950. By then, the comic was primarily a horror book anyway. Cap was attempted to be brought back in 1954 with Captain America Comics issue 76, but the attempt failed, ending at issue 78. Captain America would later make his triumphant return nearly a decade later in March of 1964 in one of the best issues in all of comic books, in my opinion, and that would be in Avengers issue 4. Following the success of Marvel's characters introduced in the 1960s, Captain America was recast as a hero haunted by his memories and trying to adapt in 1960s society. Now, I've been rambling about Captain America for a bit now, but have yet to tell you about his comic book origin. So guess what? After the outbreak of World War II in Europe, a young American patriot, Steve Rogers, was inspired to serve his country by joining the United States Army. When he attempted to enlist, Steve was rejected due to his skinny, anemic physique. However, he garnered the attention of certain people, including scientist Dr. Abraham Erskine, who was searching for suitable volunteers/test subjects for a top-secret experimental program designed to create an army of super soldiers. As a result of Operation Rebirth, Steve Rogers gained speed, strength, flexibility, endurance, and agility of nearly superhuman levels. These heightened abilities, coupled with his unwavering courage and never-say-die attitude, eventually made him Captain America, a living legend. Like I said a minute or so ago, Captain America was revived by one of its co-creators, Jack Kirby, and also Stan Lee, making his triumphant return in Avengers issue 4. It's one of the most highly sought-after issues in comic books because it's the issue where Captain America joins the Avengers. To make a long story short, the Avengers find a thawing frozen body in the ocean and bring it on board, only to realize it's Captain America. At first, they're not really sure if it's the real Captain America, so they test his abilities, and of course, he passes, and then remembers and tells them how he got frozen over 20 years prior. Once they make it to land, they are greeted by a bunch of reporters, but then the Avengers are mysteriously turned into stone, which leaves Captain America to figure out what's going on and save the day. Now, I couldn't do a History of Captain America episode without talking about his death and his resurrection. Yes, he has died, and yes, he resurrected, because let's be honest, no one really stays dead in comics. During the aftermath of the awesome storyline Civil War, which had half the Marvel heroes being for a Registration Act, having their secret identities publicly known, and the other half being against it, Captain America is taken into custody. While in custody, Crossbones snipes him, hitting Cap in the shoulder, while Sharon Carter, who has been brainwashed by Dr. Faustus, delivers the killing blow, which all happens in Captain America issue 25. After Steve Rogers dies, his old sidekick Bucky Barnes, aka Winter Soldier, follows in Steve Rogers' footsteps, becoming the new Captain America. I'm not going to get into detail on how this happened because I explained it in my last week's History of Winter Soldier episode, so go watch it right here if you want more detail. As for Steve Rogers' resurrection, it is later revealed in Captain America Reborn issue 1 that Steve Rogers did not die, of course, and that the gun Sharon Carter had been hypnotized to use had actually caused Rogers to phase in and out of space and time, appearing in different events in his lifetime and fighting battles. The Red Skull returns Rogers to present, where he takes control of Rogers' mind and body. Rogers eventually regains control, and with the help from his allies, defeats the Red Skull by the end of the miniseries. In a following one-shot comic, Captain America Who Will Wield the Shield, Rogers formally grants Bucky his Captain America shield and asks his former sidekick to continue as Captain America. The American president grants Rogers a full pardon for his anti-registration actions from the Civil War storyline. Now, you might be saying, but Eris, Steve Rogers is Captain America again in the comics. To you I say, let me explain. During the Fear Itself storyline, following the apparent death of Bucky at the hands of Sin in the form of Scatty, Steve Rogers ends up changing into his Captain America uniform, taking up the role of Captain America once again. When the Avengers and the New Avengers are fighting Scatty, the Serpent ends up joining the battle and breaks Captain America's shield with his bare hands. When it comes to the final battle, Captain America uses Thor's hammer to fight Scatty until Thor manages to kill the Serpent. In the aftermath of the battle, Iron Man presents him with his reforged shield, which is now stronger. It is then revealed that Captain America, Nick Fury, and Black Widow are the only ones who know that Bucky actually survived the fight with Scatty. Bucky then resumes his identity as Winter Soldier. With all this Captain America talk, I have to mention at least some of his villains. You have Baron Zemo, Crossbones, Red Skull, Madam Hydra, and Nuke. And lastly, a history of episode wouldn't be complete without me giving you some good Captain America recommendations. There's Captain America issue 1, Avengers issue 4, Captain America issue 109, Captain America Man Out of Time, Captain America Volume 1 Masterworks, Death of Captain America, The Complete Collection, Civil War, and Captain America Winter Soldier. Those are just a few great reads to get you started. GoDaddy has everything you need to put your business online and find new customers. Get started by registering a domain name and creating your website with GoDaddy's easy-to-use website builder. Already have a website? No problem. Keep it running fast with GoDaddy's web hosting. Visit GoDaddy.com and enter the promo code VARIANT30 to save 30% on your new purchases. Some limitations may apply. See the website for details. First up for Wednesday, April 2nd, we have Nightcrawler issue 1. Nightcrawler is back, newly returned from his afterlife. Veteran X-Men Kurt Wagner finds himself in a world that's a far cry from the one he left. Professor X is dead, Cyclops is on the run, and the X-Men are divided. Here we have Detective Comics issue 30. Batman finds himself knee-deep in a new mystery involving a deadly new narcotic that hits the streets of Gotham City. Now we have Aquaman and the Others issue 1. This is the Future's End prelude. The King of Atlantis and his teammates find themselves targeted by an unknown force that wants their Atlantean artifacts. Next we have Earth 2 issue 22. When all looks lost, Green Lantern returns. And finally we have Green Lantern issue 30. Hal Jordan is surrounded by a bloodthirsty military wing of a cosmic alliance that's determined to crush the Green Lanterns. And that brings another episode to a close. But remember, you can like our Variant Facebook page to keep up with the show and all things comic related. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Eris_Quinones. But again, that's it, and I'll see you all next week when I talk about all things comics. Bucky Barnes, aka Winter Soldier, follows in Steve Rogers' footsteps. He follows in his footsteps, and that's like an old man. And he follows in his footsteps, and then, hey, I'm Bucky Barnes. I'm the new Captain America. Welcome to Variant One Shot. Today we're going to talk about one of the coolest weapons in comic books, Captain America's shield. It is virtually indestructible and it is as much as an offensive weapon as a defensive one for Cap. He uses it against his enemies mainly by throwing it at them and can perform mind-boggling impossible tricks with it as we've seen in the movies and comics. So clearly everyone knows about it, but what is its origin and how did it evolve over the years? Well, since that's my job to tell you those things, that's exactly what I'm going to do. In his debut, Captain America is equipped with a triangular badge-shaped shield made from a bulletproof alloy. But after complaints by rival comic book publisher MLJ Magazine, aka Archie Comics, that the design was too similar to that of their own patriotic hero, the Shield, Timely Comics, now Marvel Comics, replaced the triangular shield with the disc-shaped one we all know and love. While the origin and fate of the original Shield were not described in the original comics from the 1940s, the Shield's fate was revealed decades later through a retcon story. According to the tale, King T'Chaka, who is the king of Wakanda, met Captain America in early 1941 and gave him a sample of vibranium, which is an alien metal with unique vibration absorption properties and found only in Wakanda and the Savage Land. In response to this gesture of trust, Captain America gave his original triangular shield to the king. As most of us know, the king's son T'Challa would join the Avengers a generation later as Black Panther and become a close ally to Captain America. Upon his return to the US, Captain America received a second triangular shield that he used until he was given his disc-shaped one, which was personally presented to him by President Franklin Roosevelt. This is the shield most associated with Captain America and made its debut in Captain America Comics issue 2 in April of 1941. It was made by Dr. McClane. He was hoping that the ally would provide a distinct advantage in the armor of American war machines during World War II. He experimented on Wakanda's vibranium because of its unique capabilities. One night, Dr. McClane fell asleep and an unknown catalyst fused the vibranium and an experimental iron alloy. Because he was asleep, Dr. McClane wasn't able to replicate the bonding process or know what was the catalyst. It was then poured into a mold for a tank hatch to give it a circular form, and painted into an American flag motif using titanium oxide paint, though it has been repainted since then. And like I said earlier, President Franklin Roosevelt presented this new shield to Captain America. Fun fact though, Dr. McClane did try to recreate the unknown alloy without the vibranium, with the end result being the creation of adamantium, which as we all know is the metal substance that covers Wolverine's skeleton and claws. But there you have it, the origin of Captain America's shield.